Welcome to another edition of the All Go Podcast. I'm your host, Desmond Upshaw. Thanks so much for joining me. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Pretty new to the YouTube game, but enjoy just talking sports. That's what the All Go Podcast is all about. Before I get started, want to represent the Gritty Moguls, as you can see on my sweatshirt. Great company. They have men's clothing, men's accessories. They've just rolled out a line of men's watches as well. They're on Instagram. You can go to their website at www.grittymoguls.com. Great company, and they post some pretty cool inspirational things on Instagram as well, and they're also on TikTok. So feel free to go check them out. Like I said, some good people there. Today, we want to talk about Matt Stafford and the big trade that everyone's been talking about with the Rams and the Lions. So the Lions sent Matt Stafford to the LA Rams. The LA Rams sent 2 first-round picks, Jared Goff, and also a third-round pick as well to the Lions. So for myself, I am a Lions fan. Dealt with a lot of misery as all of us Lions fans are. Lions unite. So this is something that obviously hits close to home, but I'll kind of go to it from the Lions' perspective first and foremost. But they got a massive haul from the Rams, and when you are making a transition as a franchise to move on from a franchise quarterback like Matt Stafford, I think it's important that you do get that type of value. It's clear that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are in full rebuild mode for the Lions, and I think this was a good time to make that transition. You got a new GM, got a new head coach, complete new staff, so it just was a good timing thing to make that transition from Stafford. Best of luck to him with the Rams. But as far as the Lions go, getting 2 first-round picks and a third-round pick. The third-round pick is this year. The first-round picks will be in 2022 and 2023, which for the Lions in the next 3 drafts, they actually have 5 first-round draft picks. So when you start to talk about rebuilding and building a foundation, that's what you want to see. You want to see the amount of draft capital in the NFL, because it's very different than the NBA. Whereas NBA, if you don't have a lottery pick, it's an absolute crapshoot. And even sometimes you get a lottery pick and your guy is still a crapshoot. So the NFL is very different. You definitely, if you're in that rebuilding mode, you definitely want to try to hoard as many first round draft picks as you can. And the Lions, like I said, have 5 in the next 3 years, which, if you look at a team like the Miami Dolphins, who are I mean, you could say they're rebuilding, but with 10 wins last year, that's I'd love to go through that type of rebuild. But they did a similar thing with multiple players. They had moved on from Minkah Fitzpatrick, Laramie Tunsil, and they were able to get some first round picks for it. And you see now the result of their rebuild, because they have I think they have a top 5 pick in this draft, as well as the number 23 pick or something in that range. So they've got 2 first-round picks. So when you're trying to rebuild, getting a quality young guy on a very low contract is a way that you really start to build that up to where you get to that point where you start to rebuild. You've got something to work with. And really that early formula is a quarterback on a rookie deal. With the Dolphins, they've got Tua Tagovailoa, who is on a rookie deal. He's in year 2 of his contract. And really, I mean, you're when you start to forecast it out, essentially you've got 7 years that you have a quarterback that you draft, because you get the 4-year contract that they sign. You can have a 5th-year option. You can franchise tag him for year 6 and franchise tag him for year 7. So that's ideally what you want to try to do. So back to the Lions. Definitely, like I said, I think it was the right move. I think they got a great haul for it, and I'm actually surprised because I believe it was Albert Breer who reported what other teams offered for Stafford, and really a first-round pick was essentially all that any of the teams really offered. It was like a first-round pick and a young guy, or a first and a third or a fifth. Like there's really no team that was anywhere close to the type of value that you got back from the Rams. So for me, I think their plan is going to be right now to move forward with Jared Goff for at least this year, which I don't love that plan, but you're also at a point where you can't really do anything. You can't really move Goff right now. I believe his dead cap hits like 40-something million dollars, and I think the Rams take half of that, so maybe 22 million. But nonetheless, you especially when you're in a rebuild, you don't want to destroy your cap that way. And $22 million is a good chunk of money. I mean, that's probably in the NFL 2, maybe 3, starting players. So when you're going through a rebuild, that's the last thing you want to do. So I think it's fine that you move forward with Jared Goff for this season. But for myself, I would still want the Lions to draft a quarterback at 7. Whoever your guy is that's there, whether it's Trey Lance, whether it's Zach Wilson if he's there, if Justin Fields somehow slides to 7, whoever it is, you need to get your quarterback there at 7. And my plan would be, and of course I'm talking as if I'm the GM and head coach, but it's my channel so I can do that. But what I would do is I would bring in, let's say, Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson, we draft him at 7. We've got Jared Goff, and we have an open competition in training camp, which whatever that's going to look like. We have an open competition for QB1. And if it's Jared Goff, great. Then Zach Wilson's going to get a redshirt year, quote-unquote redshirt year, where he is able to sit, learn, understand, be in that QB room, get that coaching from the NFL staff for a full year. And then after that, I'm moving on from Jared Goff unless he, lights the world on fire. And it's going to be Zach Wilson's team moving forward. And I would have this same plan, whether it's Trey Lance, whether it's Mac Jones, whether, it's Justin Fields. So that would be ideally the plan of what I would do if I were the Detroit Lions. But they're in full rebuild mode. And I think where they're at, that should be the plan. I think they are making the right steps to get to where you want to be, to where you're talking about a healthy franchise, a healthy roster, well-rounded, and you're trying to find your young quarterback. So I think from the Lions side, I think it was a steal. From the Rams side, it's interesting. So as far as the picks go, giving up 2 first-round picks and a third this year, for the Rams, they drafted Jared Goff in 2016. They have not had a single first-round draft pick since then, and they're not going to have one until the earliest 2024. I don't know how you build a championship team that way, but I also do, because the Rams are doing it that way. So they're actually taking their first-round picks and trading them away and getting established guys, Pro Bowl caliber players. You got Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald was a guy that they drafted, but they are, that's what they're doing. They're taking those draft picks and turning them into, established guys. Jalen Ramsey, I believe they got him for 2 first-round picks. Now obviously, getting Matthew Stafford, that's another 2 first-round picks. So they're doing it in an unorthodox way. And at the end of the day, if they win a Super Bowl, this season with Matt Stafford or next year with Matt Stafford, it was worth it. All of that will have been worth it because it's just so difficult to win a Super Bowl. So that it's a difficult position to be in, but they're going for broke. They are in absolute win now mode. If they don't win a Super Bowl in the next 2 years, they are going to be. They're just going to be in some trouble, because you get to a point to where you do have veteran guys, and that's fine. But Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey don't have another 6-7 years left in their NFL careers. They may, but it's probably not going to be at the Pro Bowl level that they're at right now. As far as Matthew Stafford on the Rams, I think he'll be pretty good on the Rams. He was good with the Detroit Lions. He wasn't great. Stafford was not a guy who was going to elevate your team and make you, that much better. He was a good decision maker overall, but he really struggled in my mind in situational football and understanding how important it is to just get completions, especially on early downs, like not taking chances and taking shots that aren't there. I just feel like Stafford didn't do a great job of understanding that when he was with the Lions. Now, I don't think the Lions did a great job of surrounding him with elite talent, but he had more talent than most other quarterbacks did. He played with Calvin Johnson for a good chunk of his career. He had Eric Ebron, who I have my thoughts on him, but nonetheless, he was a first-round high draft pick. He had T.J. Hawkinson. He played with Golden Tate. He had Marvin Jones, Kenny Galladay, who has just been there last 3-4 years. Reggie Bush, Joique Bell. I know Reggie wasn't at the New Orleans Saints Reggie, but he was still a pretty darn effective running back while he was there. So he's had some weapons, and I would say more than most other guys, and he just hasn't produced when it comes to the big games. You know, my caveat with Stafford, or maybe not a caveat, but the thing I've always said about him is he's good enough to get you in those big games, and then he's going to lose those big games. That's how I felt about him for the last probably 4 or 5 years. And there's plenty of games that you could look at and see that is the case with him. We had the Thanksgiving game where Case Keenum, it was the year Case Keenum was the Minnesota Vikings starting quarterback. We were going into the Thanksgiving game, which the Lions always play the Thanksgiving Day game. I think they just, it's tradition, but they're just trying to throw the Detroit fans a bone. Like, you guys deserve something, so we get that. But they were going into that game, and a win there would have given Detroit Lions sole possession of first place in the NFC North. And we go into that game, it's a home game, and Matt Stafford gets outplayed by Case Keenum, and we lose the game. And it's just, and to me, that has been the story on Stafford, since he's been here in Detroit. He's got 3 playoff appearances, 0 wins. He played against the New Orleans Saints. He played against the Dallas Cowboys, and we had the Seahawks playoff game as well. So in those big games, those big moments, he hasn't come up big. But I think the Rams have a lot to like as far as the run game. Cam Akers is a young running back. I believe he's a rookie last year. Had a really good season. Cooper Kupp's a really good receiver. Robert Woods is a good receiver. I think for the Rams, what will really set them up for success is getting a deep threat. For Matt Stafford, that is one of his strengths. Is he's got a big arm. He is good at throwing the deep ball. So I think if the Rams really want to take advantage and go for broke, I would see about getting, whether it's via the draft, which they don't have many draft picks, but whether it's via draft or free agency, is get a deep ball threat, because that's where I feel like you'll get the most out of Matt Stafford, especially with the way the run game is for the Rams. Coming off of that play action and taking deep shots, it will be pretty dangerous for them. So I think it's a win for both teams. For the Rams, I think they paid too steep of a price. For Stafford, he's got 2 years left on his deal. Year 1, I believe he's about $20 million, and year 2 is about $23 million. The thing is I don't think Stafford's going to play the last year of that deal. Most franchise type quarterbacks wouldn't. So for the Rams, you're going to pay him $20 million this year, which is fine. But I'm pretty sure that I know if I were Stafford's agent, we're not going into the last year of that deal playing a 1-year deal of $23 million, because if he gets injured, anything happens, you've just got no security for a guy who's coming into his quarterback prime. I know he's 33 years old, but as far as the NFL nowadays, I mean, it's a different type of age scale. I mean, Brady is playing right now, and he's in his 40s. So Stafford's got plenty of years left, but it's just, I just don't foresee them being able to get 2 years out of Stafford on his current deal. You're gonna have to restructure his deal. You're gonna have to extend him, and you're probably gonna be in the range of probably 3 years, $90 million. And you'll probably be higher than that. You'll probably be closer to having to pay him, I think, $33 million because you've got another year of quarterbacks getting paid. So, I think Russell Wilson's about 33 right now, as far as $33 million on being paid every year. I think Aaron Rodgers is in the 35 range. Obviously Mahomes is on, a crazy deal. So we'll see what happens with the Rams. I mean, they could be, here next year getting ready for the Super Bowl. I personally don't think that's going to happen. I think the Rams will probably end up about where they were this year. I think they'll, be like a wild card team, maybe win a playoff game or two, but I don't think the Rams are going to be in the Super Bowl next year. I know, this is really the first time any analysts are really talking about, the Detroit Lions on a national spectrum. And a lot of them are telling you about how great Stafford is and that, he's so good. We just haven't, been able to see it and all this stuff. I'm like, he's a good quarterback. This isn't Aaron Rodgers. This isn't Russell Wilson. I mean, this is Matt Ryan is what essentially this is. I mean, he's not a guy who's gonna elevate that team. So we'll see what happens, and if it comes to pass that the Rams are in the Super Bowl, I'll be right back on this channel and I will eat crow and have no problems doing it. But if I have to make my call right now, I don't think the Rams are going to be in the Super Bowl. So we'll see what happens. Thanks so much for joining me and sticking until the end. As I mentioned before, please like and subscribe and give me a follow on Twitter. I will check you next time. Thanks so much.